Good morning, YouTube. We're going to go back over the comments from the T-Rex arm saga. Well, the latest of the saga. I told you guys a few weeks ago, I had a really good feeling about this. And so far, it has absolutely been delivering. Back home in Arizona for a little bit. Oh, drinking some C4. You can feel it down in your plums. I'm really feeling excited to go through these comments, and I've curated a bunch of the, I would say, more critical comments, the anti-Lucas camp, if you will. Because if we go through the sort them by top comments on the T-Rex Arms video, the analysis that I did, well, you can see which side those are lining up on. Let's go through it. T-Rex looked at SIG's damage control manual and was like, perfect, let's make it worse. Yeah, that was the top comment, and fair enough. They did. It was a very it ends today type of moment with them, and it did not end. Okay, I took Lucas to watch Jurassic Park as a kid, so I basically created T-Rex arms. David, probably. Yes, there's sort of a lot of, I mean, going through both the T-Rex timeline and their video, it's kind of, they kind of make it seem like it was, their thing, which I don't think people are really buying. All right, never interrupt your enemies when they're making a mistake. Lucas just has to sit back, do his own thing, and let them self-destroy. And that certainly does seem like what he's going to do. He's now played his cards. They will buy him out. He's going to go off and do his own thing. And after kind of telling this story, it's an interesting story. I'm here for it. I think a lot of you are too. Fascinating to see this stuff play out. And, on the back of all that kind of positive public goodwill and interest in his next venture and products, I think Lucas will do very, very well. T-Rex arms, on the other hand, they appear to be not in a great place. They're losing their marketing guy, the front man for the company, kind of all that energy. They're losing that, and then they're making it even worse with what they're saying, because I said this a few times, I don't think they have a very compelling story to tell here that people are going to like. Okay, dude, the reason the T-Rex guys don't like Kara is because she sees right through their BS. I can feel it. Sure, and then the other part of that is she's perceived as an outsider, and in ways that I don't even think the T-Rex crew really understands themselves. I mean, again, like they had a couple of their brothers of the, what did I call them, the asshat cabal. A couple of them are married, and to them, like, their wives are like not an issue, not a problem. But they do view Kara differently as an outsider, and I'm not sure they really even see that. All right. I don't know about you guys, but the completely scripted, non-organic dialogue that importantly included the word pray, way more than would come up in normal conversation, completely sold me on these guys. They're definitely not bad actors at all. Yeah, again, lots of people reading the demeanor of the T-Rex crew, and you're just not finding it credible. Just they're talking about, oh, we're with our wives, we really prayed about this. And I'm just like, shut up. All right, cabal of asshats is the best use of language I've heard this week. Good. Okay, lying by omission is still lying. Sure, I suppose. I wanted to be precise when I presented my thoughts on this, because I find the T-Rex guys very, very deceptive, but I would acknowledge I don't think they said anything like if you parse through it, any specific thing they said was untrue, even though if you take it on the whole or take it on the face of it, you would be left with kind of a twisted view of reality if you accepted the story that they were presenting to you and the way that they framed it and all of that stuff. Right? They never addressed why their agreement screwed Lucas out of his majority ownership. Their explanation was Lucas said he was naive. We all were. Give me a break, freaking grifters. Yeah, that's another thing. They didn't address that. Now, I think we'll get into it later because some of the other comments pointed it out, but yeah, they didn't address that part, not really to anyone's satisfaction. And then again, thinking about it more, why wouldn't his brothers want to protect him in this situation and make sure that he ends up with a majority ownership and control of the business that he started in the garage? Okay, still wanting to be referred to as Colonel after retiring from the military is lame AF. Yeah, I think he's referring there to Colonel Sleepy. Yeah, he's still called Colonel. I don't know how long since he's been in the military. Here's one. Lucas comes off as an actual Christian and they come off as fake Christians. The very first partner agreement should have given him 100 to 51% of the company as he started the company. They took advantage of their brother for years. They are currently reaping what they sowed. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment about how like they created this situation and now they're going to be dealing with it. For sure. The T-Rex Arms video had two parts, their response and Ben's commentary on it. You can't have one without the other. The latter part was pure gold. I'm glad you guys enjoy it. A lot of you guys wanted to hear what I had to say about it. All right, so we're going to get into some of the more negative comments or stuff that's more critical of Lucas. That's good. I think that'll be interesting. But first, I have to say, I really think that the problem with the T-Rex guys, of course, is what difficult personalities they are. Most people are seeing through it and seeing how kind of awful it would be to work with those guys. Not all people are seeing that. To give you an example, I think if you watch the T-Rex video, you'll know there was a part in there where Creepy David, and the funny thing is there's two Davids in that video. When I say Creepy David, everybody knows who I'm talking about. Creepy David explained the wife porn saga thing where there's messages sent to Kara that are sexually inappropriate, and it's this months-long thing where finally, I think after Lucas had finally quit, they ended up firing the guy that had sent that stuff. And then who that guy is another interesting factor. Whose kid is that again? Whose kid is that? Not just some random guy. Anyway, he has this very apologetic tone and demeanor that doesn't seem very credible, but he does seem like he has an apologetic tone. And what he actually ends up apologizing for, his analysis of that whole situation is, yeah, we should have consulted an attorney sooner. And we really failed. We really let you down not doing that. And that's such a narrow view, such a strange way to frame it when the fact is, if it was one of their wives on the other end of the same situation, it would have been handled differently. Or at least Lucas would have every reason to think so. I mean, why wouldn't he? So that's how kind of difficult these guys are to pin down, because they don't really take responsibility for what they say and do. It's always, oh, it's a misunderstanding. And if they made a mistake, it was this really small technical, we should have talked to an attorney sooner. What do you need to talk to an attorney for? Like, you see what's going on here, you can just fire the guy. You know, right? But they don't do that. Guys like this don't take responsibility for anything, not in a real way. So it's a very difficult personality type to deal with for the most part. Like, a lot of people have asked me, hey, why have you been bagging on Billy Barton on Instagram so hard the last couple weeks? And I did. I've been mean, honestly, to Billy. And that was because he put out a video and he was disparaging me in his video, not in a super nasty way, but just some guys, they talk an hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever, talk an hour and a half in a 2-day class. Yeah, like that's not enough talking to him, or it would be better if the instructors talked more. So, you know, he disparaged me a little bit, and I was like, cool, this is going to be fun, attacking this guy. And when I heard from him directly, and he sent me like a thesis paper in a DM, but it was nothing. It wasn't even acknowledging that he had fired first, so to speak. I think it was something like, oh, I'm misreading it or something, when there is no other way to read it. And that's why it's like, hey, dude, I'm going to be mean to you now. This is what I told him. I told him I was going to be mean, because he's never going to acknowledge that he fired first. So, like, now I feel I'm just going to take shots at him all the time, call him Big Mouth Billy. His little sidekick, Brennan, got in on it. I heard he's sensitive about his weight, so I started calling him Big Tits Brennan. Like, that kind of stuff. I will not be kind to personalities like this. No. Anyway, let's get back to the T-Rex guys. I had to weave that other stuff in there because so many people have been asking me. All right, let's get to the comments, the negative ones about the T-Rex thing. All right. Sadly, very sadly, this is what the 2A community has come to nowadays. People have no more of a life than to tear apart someone else's life and troubles. No one has a perfect life, and everyone has troubles and downfalls. The days of helping someone in time of need has turned into this. Super Yankees doing the only thing they know how to do and jumping into everyone's life, telling them what's best and how to do it, when in fact their life is just as bad, if not worse. I feel very blessed. I don't need or want any part of the so-called 2A community. The more of this I see, the more I'm glad not to be a part of it other than my own personal shooting and range time. The so-called 2A community has become nothing more than bandwagon jumping people trying to destroy, shame, and outdo someone else. The days of men being men, standing up for what's right and good, to add good things and actions, turned into men acting like a bunch of women gossiping at the hair and nail salon. Yeah, I mean, I'm here for the gossip. This is the stuff that I think is fun and entertaining. Maybe you don't like that. A lot of people don't like that, but I'm here for the drama. I think it's fantastic, especially in this case because the whole business of Trex Arms and Lucas's online persona, they kind of one and the same. Because Lucas is an interesting, dynamic personality and people like watching him online, that's what kind of built Trex into what it is. You can't have one without the other. So yeah, this is going to be some drama. All right, so mine is the unpopular opinion of the fact that it's a business. Lucas never could have run it as a business by himself, and he needed help. Unfortunately, when you have a business that size, you need to have people that know how to run a business, not someone who knows how to run Instagram. Fortunately, with social media, Lucas is the selling point, but that's not what employs and all the people. So everybody needs to calm down because it's not good. Okay, I got a little bit incoherent there towards the end. But yeah, this guy's saying Lucas needed help. And this is kind of a rhetorical sleight of hand that the asshat cabal over here, I think, was pretty successful in pulling on a few people, where they persuaded you of the idea that Lucas needed help. But that's not really the issue. Somebody growing a business to this size, it'll never be one guy. There's always going to be other people involved with different skill sets, and there's going to be, it's going to be a big team that builds something this big. The question isn't, did Lucas need help? Is why did he give up more than half the equity in the business to get help? And look at who he was getting help from those closest to him, probably not those best at doing the thing. So this is where I think the brothers kind of persuaded a few people, right? Well, Lucas needed help. Where I would say, of course he needed help. Like, why did he give up the business to get help to grow the business? Doesn't make sense. All right. I think what we learned is that there's no evidence at all that Lucas can build or manage a company. He can make YouTube videos people really like, and to many dumb people, this is exactly the same thing as building a real company. But those partners came on when Lucas was selling a dozen holsters a week and offered their expertise that ultimately turned it into a successful company. You see what I mean? Like, that's a view of it, but my view of it would be Lucas clearly understands how to engage with people on the internet, give the audience what they want. And in that same sense, he understands give the audience the products they want, right? He gets that stuff. I don't think the other guys get it. And I think you're going to see that as time goes on here. The other guys don't get it. Not the way that Lucas does. So what Lucas has, they need. Like, you need that to build this kind of like lightning in a bottle type of business that's really successful in the ways that Trex has been. Lucas has it. I don't think they have it. From where I sit, Lucas can hire people to do all of the other types of bullshit that you need to hire people to do. You would need to give equity to your brothers. All right. I come across more in the middle. Lucas was obviously not a good businessman, at least in the early days. Even if they did scam him out of the business, that doesn't speak well for his business acumen. Now, I actually agree with that, but the other thing is, so does Lucas. Lucas has, I think, been pretty clear. I wouldn't do this again, or he would do it different in the future. Yeah, and all he's doing at this point is holding them to the agreement that they've all signed. I think that's where Lucas is at. All right, I think Lucas was basically impossible to work with. 4 people were on the same side, and one guy wouldn't compromise. They handled the situation horribly. There's obviously plenty of fault to go around. Basically, just because you have a good invention doesn't mean you will run a great business. The best auto mechanic I've ever seen has tried to start an auto shop 3 times and failed miserably every time. Okay, so as far as being difficult to work with, again, think back to what's happened here. Colonel Sleepy, for example, talked about it in T-Rex's video. Hey, we removed Lucas from the executive leadership team. And then it recounts, oh, after like 6 months, Lucas had really turned on me. Like, he's not with me anymore. He's against me. And you just don't think about that. Remove him from the executive leadership team for the company that he founded in his garage, and then expect that you're going to be able to work with him. No, no. Those four guys are all definitely on the same side, but they're working in collusion to I don't know, fuck over is not really the right word for Lucas, but to sort of contain him or like keep him in a box or keep him in his place or that type of thing. I wouldn't, in Lucas's shoes, I can promise you, if I was in Lucas's shoes, those four people would find me impossible to work with too. Because what is there to talk about with personalities like that? It doesn't matter what you say. They're going to do what they're going to do, and they're going to blame you for it. That's how they roll. And that's obvious. I've watched both videos. I don't think either of them explain the real reason the split occurred. It seems to me the four believe their side of the story as much as Lucas believes his, although they're definitely leaving out the sexting stuff to protect one of the owner's son and to screw up by not firing that kid as soon as Lucas complained. I think T-Rex has a through road forward without Lucas, who popularized the company by using their gear. Yeah, I do agree that they have a through road forward. It is possible for them to keep things going, and it's a really big company. What are sales down right now? Half? Like, are they down 50% maybe? Maybe. I don't know. But there's definitely business there for them. But they would have to go do that thing without sort of irritating the people that like Lucas. And that, difficult. Now, I do agree with you as well. I don't think either of them explain the real reason for the split. Not really, not in explicit terms. I think the reason is, like, Lucas doesn't like them and can see, like, they put him in this box and the only way out is what he's doing. And them, they obviously don't like Lucas. Quite obviously. They don't like him. They can't really control him. They probably resent how much they need him. And also, I mean, it seems like they don't like that Lucas has gotten all the credit for all this stuff. I mean, who went on Tucker Carlson to talk about T-Rex arms? That was Lucas. Nobody gives a shit about the other brothers. So I think there's a lot of resentment here going both directions. All right. People go so hard after a gun company, but I bet they still shop at anti-gun stores like Target, Dick's, and others. I guarantee there are truths on both sides of this. Lucas said himself that he wasn't good at the business side, but was better at product development and being the face. The other owners helped grow it to being a bigger company from what it sounds. I'm not sure that a full boycott is what should happen, especially if you eat at McDonald's, which is another stolen company, right? Sure. I mean, you can have whatever opinion you want, but a lot of people are boycotting. They're just not going to buy from T-Rex anymore. And there's other companies that are also selling similar products. So maybe you're not down for that, but I mean, a lot of people are. All right. Both sides have made statements that seem to be carefully crafted to avoid two things, per my speculation. Number one, saying anything that come back to bite them in court, and two, personally attacking the other side in ways that could irreparably harm their family relationships. I think you're right about that, but maybe they're the same thing, just not creating an issue where you're going to get attacked in court. I think the family relationship is done on this. I would be surprised if they're talking, except through lawyers. All right, it seems entirely plausible to me that Lucas's wife really is the type that his brothers seem to think. Per Lucas's statement, she is. That they could be way off, as my own twin brother was wrong about the woman our younger brother married. Maybe the brothers were predatory when crafting the early equity plan, but maybe they're right that they're much more important to T-Rex's success than Lucas gives them credit for. I don't think any of us can really say definitively who was more in the wrong, and we probably never will know. I think it's disingenuous to confidently point fingers. Everyone is trying to parse this and that and read the tea leaves without knowing anyone involved. We can't really assess their credibility. Anyone we hear from who does know them may have a bias towards one side, and we'd never know it. I plan to buy from whoever has the best product at the best price, and whichever YouTube videos interest me. Okay, that's cool. I think you've heard from people that do know these parties, like John Lovell, the warrior poet dude, came out. He was on the kind of more pro the asshat cabal, I would say, than many. I've interacted with Lucas, and I find it's like a very interesting personality. And of course, I've made my views on this pretty clear. No, there's people that know them that have opinions too. Okay, let's go to the last one here. Why is nobody talking about the fact Lucas's wife was obviously cheating with one of his own employees? They are clearly not playing that card out of respect for him despite knowing what went down, and I think they deserve a little respect for at least just saying. They could totally spill that the D pics sent to her were not random whatsoever, and that it's why they didn't immediately take action on the employee, but they haven't because they know Lucas clearly does not want to see it that way. I don't think that's what's going on, like at all. I really think, I mean, sure, if you watch the T-Rex thing, they're going to blow that kind of thinking out of the water, where they explain that there wasn't some pattern of harassment or communication between the guy that sent the pictures and Kara. They would have that in a text history, and I don't think there's any evidence of that. Definitely, it makes sense that people are suspicious. You're like, well, why is this person sending you pictures? Like, I mean, was it really truly unsolicited? Certainly an understandable question, but I think even if you listen to the T-Rex side of it, there's no reason to think that. Yeah. All right, guys. I think we went through the comments here pretty good. Oh, there's one more that I think this is an interesting summation of things. There are two things abundantly clear after that video. One, they resented Lucas being the face of the company, particularly as being portrayed as running the company, as they felt they were doing all the hard work. Yes, I agree with that. I think there's a lot of resentment. Two, they weren't trying to push him out. They just thought they could push him into the marketing corner, strip all his authority away, and that he would just accept it. He did the one thing they never thought he would, which was walk away. Again, yeah, I agree. They want him in a box. They want him controlled. And if he's out of the business, they want him out of T-Rex, but they don't want him slagging them on the way out the door. They want him to leave quietly if he's going to leave. That would be my read on it, like for sure. Like controlled in a box, or he goes quietly. That's what it looks like to me. Didn't really work out for them, but it was pretty clear what they were trying to do. Anyway, that's enough for now. So good. Love the drama.